As the academic session begins, students are back in classrooms across the nation's capital, Abuja, after a lengthy summer break. While some are thrilled to return, others are indifferent.
I'm very happy. I met my friends and everyone. We are very happy. We played and we have some studies.
I'm happy to back to school to meet my friends, and we talk about study and they teach us many things. And I wrote tests. I didn't mark our test today. I have 10 all over 10.
We should always focus. So we should not follow those who did not know road. We should follow who know road.
My plans this time is I want to be more focused. I want to get more grades. I want to get E's. All those subjects that give me B, C, D. I don't want that to happen anymore.
For parents, school resumption signifies a mix of getting children out of the house and navigating the hectic school run. Many are also faced with the daunting task of managing the exorbitant school fees for the new session. This includes buying uniforms, sandals, textbooks, provisions, and foodstuffs. Parents of final year secondary school students encounter additional financial pressures as they register their words for examinations conducted by the West African Examination Council, WAEC, National Examination Council, NECO, National Business Board and Technical Examinations Board, NAPTEC, Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, UTME, administered by the Joint Admissions Matriculations Board, JAMB. The fees have risen, with registration for the mock UTME alone now costing 8,700.
In Nigeria, averagely, every Nigerian is a survivor. And that's one thing about us, the doggedness. We are survivors. If they increase it to 20,000, God will still strengthen us to pay the 20,000. However, all it does is just put us on our toes. We learn to do more. We don't just relax. We get off our comfort zones. If you've been doing one job before, it makes you think outside the box. You think of, what else do I do to increase my income? What else do I do to help me not to fail my children?
My children are in junior secondary school, Gariki, area 10. And being that it's a government school, at least our school fees is not something that we cannot be able to attend to.
While some parents feel that annual fee increase have become a norm in many private schools, others believe that these hikes reflect the ongoing economic challenges.
The situation and the nation is not smiling, and we have to pay the bills. And if you look at the government school, they are not helping matters. Most of the children, our children are in private school. All my children are in private school.
The issue is the school fees. Honestly, it's very high. You can imagine a child of just a year plus that want to just enter. Like for a start, they will ask to pay like 100,000 with everything.
Maybe we may have to borrow, we may have to collect loan. I don't know, anyhow, we must sort out for the money and make sure the children goes back to school.
Things are not adding up at all. With 70,000 minimum wage, okay, let me shock you. I have 3 children in a private school, a civil servant. When they brought the bill of my children was, I think I can give figures. For 3 children in a private school was 635,000 naira.
People are taking advantage of government failure and using it to even siphon and to rob on poor Nigerians. So it's very, very biting and annoying. But all the same, we give glory to God, we're alive. What we keep praying for is that one should not be sick.
The National Bureau of Statistics recently reported that Nigeria's annual inflation rate eased to 21.88% in July from 22.22% in June 2025. Despite this slight easing, many Nigerians continue to experience elevated living costs that affects both parents and students. Juliet Obata, Arise News.
Well, as schools across Nigeria resume for the 2025-26 academic session, parents are raising concerns over the soaring cost of education, from skyrocketing tuition and textbooks to bus fees and other levies. Now, we're now joined by Dr. Gladys Ajaero, proprietor of the Triumph and Peak International Academy, Enugu. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsnight. Well, let me start this
Thank
way.
you so much.
Yes,
Thank you
indeed,
very
good to
much.
have you. Yes, there are allegations by many parents, that private schools have turned education into a business venture as families struggle to cope. In that report, you heard one of the respondents say they actually sometimes have to borrow, seek a loan to pay their children's school fees. What's your response to this, that private schools are now a business venture and nothing else?
Well, my response is that private schools actually is a business venture. Everything you're doing to make money definitely is a business. But I found out what he said about, making it a way of extorting parents. You see, in business, you have standard. You may choose to put your child in a school where you can pay as much as 1 million, as much as 200,000, but you can still get a standard of 50,000 naira, which is still standard. And of course, if you cannot afford that much, why going for it? Why going for it? The increase in school fees is caused by the economy of the country. You have so many bills also to pay as a proprietor. You will pay your teachers, you will take care of the environment, you will take care of every other thing, non-academic staff, cleaners, and others. Now, when you talk of the books, we don't manufacture the books. We don't produce it either. So we buy and also give to students. And a lot of time you find out that the books are so expensive that even if you decide to add just 100,000 in it, it's still very high. I don't think the increment is a fault of the proprietors or a way or a decision to extort parents, no. But I think the economy is actually affecting the whole system. Take, for example, as of last year, if you pay a private teacher 60,000, 70,000, he or she is happy and it can buy things. But today, the same person will not accept 100,000 because of the cost of living. So it is boiled down on the economy of the country and the cost of things, actually.
Well, in other words, we are passing over all of that cost to the parents. Whether it's bus fees, tuition, textbooks, everything goes back to the parents because of the economy. But let me ask you, those who say private schools, for instance, such as yours, prioritize profits over access, what do you say to them? Yes, the economy is not so bright, but, I mean, how do we balance getting standard education without parents breaking the bank?
Yes, you can balance it like I said. I gave an example when I started. I said it's a choice. You definitely have, alternatives in whatever you want to do. I was discussing with a parent, not my parent at all, but he was saying that he's paying about 280,000 in a school. And then he said something that the person that teaches them mathematics was a copper that studied another course, And then I asked her, you left the whole vicinity, your environment, and you went as far as that place. You will pay for school bus. You are going to pay so much for other things. Why didn't you? I now started mentioning schools, private schools that I know that are not too expensive, but yet that can do better than that place. So why that? So sometimes the choice of parents, I still say, could be a major problem because you have alternatives. You have alternative. In that same environment, you can get something better. Sometimes you're coming back, you see children still on the road by 6 p.m. because they are studying very far. And then after that, the lesson, they are coming back. On their way, they are tired. So why don't we think of something, cheaper, affordable, and yet standard? But sometimes we put our hands where we may not be able to actually cope and put ourselves into stress.
Well, very instructive. Obviously, government has to come up with policies that would not only fix public schools, but make private schools more reasonable. Let's talk about the latest development in the education sector, where we're told that government has introduced a new curriculum. I wonder if your school is aware of this new curriculum. Were you prepared, first of any kind of training to accommodate this new curriculum? And what your thoughts really are, because what I'm seeing here, that pupils in primary 1 to 3 will study a minimum of 9 and a maximum of 10 subjects, and on, all the way to junior secondary schools that may have to do 12 to 14 subjects. Your thoughts on this new curriculum, and how prepared are you?
Yes, the new curriculum actually is an interesting one. I must commend the government, because at a time we begin to ask, what is a child of 6 years doing with about 14, 16 subjects that can actually be fixed into maybe 9 to 10? So it's a help to the children who will not carry so much load, and we are prepared actually for it. And then for the secondary school, there wasn't so much different in this. The government decided to bring things together. They say it's important these days. They notice that there's need for digital literacy, and then students are already getting used to computers. It's just across the world, not just us. In the developed countries, a child using a system, you see that they are just used to it. Now, if the government haven't introduced this literacy and digital literacy, that means having knowledge of AI, robotic, and all that had to do with it, I think is very, very important. Even in adding all those things, one thing I have found out in it is that it did not increase the number of subjects the student have to do if he studied very well. Instead, it just compressed it, to make it a little more comfortable for the children to learn and understand. Now the government also went to other things like vocational. Of course, vocational had been there like last year, where a student might do something like vocational, like fashion, solar installations, and all the rest. So it's something that also is important for any student. Skill, knowing something, learning something before, even as an undergraduate or as a student. So it's a very, very welcome idea. I think it's a wonderful one.
Okay, we wait to see how prepared schools are to handle this new curriculum. Thank you so much, Dr. Gladys Ajaero, proprietor of the Triumph and Peak International Academy, for being on the news tonight. We do appreciate your time.